So Google has finally entered the true wireless market with the new Pixel Buds, or Pixel Buds 2, Gen 2, V2. I don't know, they're named after a product that already exists, but I guess Google's kind of hoping we'll just all collectively forget that ever happened. But I have to say, they might have succeeded. Okay, first let's go over the design because man, are these pretty. At least I think so. My roommate, not so much, but I kind of like the Mentos-like design. I mean, they're playful and googly and round, but they're also pretty minimal. And I really like that in my products. And it reminds me a lot of something like the OP1 by Teenage Engineering, which is probably one of my favorite design devices ever. This thing. I mean, the Pixel Buds are definitely more round, but right up my alley. But let's get into the charging case because that's probably the most important part of a pair of true wireless earbuds. It's the charging case that sets the good ones apart from the great ones. I'm convinced that the minimal, pocketable, easy to use design of the first AirPods charging case is what made them so successful. And Google nailed that here. These are just as small, just as pocketable, and just as easy to use. So the lid opens up easily, keeps the earbuds completely in place, and then snaps shut magnetically. And that click is great. Ooh, that's good. The case is made of a soft white plastic that's smooth but not slippery. And even though it did move around in my pockets a little bit more than I would have liked to, I never found myself dropping these or losing my grip on them. They're pretty grippy. My biggest problem with the case so far is that the lid itself seems a little loose and flimsy, and it makes a weird, squeaky, annoying sound that if it's really quiet and you're fidgeting with the case, you can hear it. It doesn't really impede functionality in any way, it's just kind of annoying. Besides that though, this case is pretty much perfect for everyday use, and it's significantly better than the first gen Pixel Buds case. It's like night and day, so good job Google. The other useful feature that I really liked about the case was that when you open them up, there's two LED lights that show you the battery status of both the case itself and the earbuds. If it's white, it means that it's perfectly charged. If it's orange, that means that it's low on battery and you should probably plug it in. Now the earbuds themselves are made of the same soft plastic that the case is and are touch sensitive for controlling playback. A single tap pauses or plays music, double tapping will skip to the next song, a triple tap will return to a previous song, and then to adjust volume all you have to do is slide across. Now to put them on, there is a specific way that you're supposed to do this. You have to put them in and then twist to lock them in place. To activate the Google Assistant, all you have to do is hold your finger on the earbud until you hear the noise that says it's okay to talk. I found the assistant integration to be one of the best parts of this experience. Just walking around my apartment, asking it questions and adjusting volume and playing songs and podcasts was like seamless. And I know that you can do that if you already have a phone, but when my phone wasn't on me, having this functionality came in handy more times than I thought it would. Now, I'm not sure how useful that's gonna be once I'm back out in public again, because I'm currently in quarantine, but once I'm on the subway, I don't know if I'm gonna be using it to adjust volume and things like that, but at least it's there. The earbuds are also pretty slim and don't stick out too much like some other true wireless earbuds. My one issue with these is comfort, because they're not that comfortable for long listening periods. These little soft rubber parts here are stabilizers. The problem is that after an hour or two, they get really uncomfortable. Still, these do a good job at stabilizing the earbud and keeping them in my ear, which I'm sure is gonna come in handy on my runs because these are IPX4 sweatproof, so you can take them to the gym or running. So as far as connection goes, these are rocking Bluetooth 5.0 and have the AAC Bluetooth codec, which is kind of a bummer. I mean, I wasn't expecting LDAC since that's Sony, but I would have at least liked to see aptX or something. But nerd talk aside, these can connect to both Android and iOS devices, but you will get some cooler features if you're connected to Android. For one, it's the initial pairing process. It's just made so much easier if you're on Android. There's no shuffling through Bluetooth settings or anything like that. All you have to do is flip the lid open next to your Android phone and a card will automatically pop up so you can pair to the headphones. It's pretty much exactly like how the AirPods work with iOS devices. Plus, you'll also get a feature called Adaptive Sound, which raises or lowers the volume of the music you're listening to based on the noise that's going on around you. And while that is a neat trick, I didn't find it that useful. And I would have preferred something like active noise canceling or transparency mode like you'll find on the Sony WF-1000X Mark IIIs, but that probably would have made these more expensive, so I won't complain. So to pair to an iOS device or any other non-Android device, all you need to do is flip open the lid and hold down the button that's on the back of the charging case. From there, the earbuds will enter pairing mode, and then you just have to go into Bluetooth settings and connect to them like any other Bluetooth device. You won't get the Google Assistant if you're on iOS, and it doesn't even bring up Siri, but it's fine, who uses Siri anyway? So as far as battery life goes, Google claimed 5 hours of constant playback, but in our testing with a constant output of 75 decibels, we got 6 hours and 8 minutes, which is even better than what they claimed. Still, it's not the best we've seen, it's pretty average. When you compare it to some of the better models like the Samsung Galaxy Buds Plus, which get 12 hours, 6 hours is almost kind of laughable. but it should be good for most situations. The case will also give you another 24 hours of listening time, and it quick charges too, so just 10 minutes in the case will give the earbuds about 2 hours of listening, which is really good. But that's not the only cool thing the case can do, because not only does it charge via USB-C, but the case itself is also compatible with any Qi wireless charger, so just placing it down on the pad will start juicing up your buds. Juicing up your buds? That sounds weird. One other thing that's pretty cool is that if you're on Android, you'll get a small little drop-down notification that will tell you the status of each earbud and the case. But I did find this to be a little misleading because it showed that one earbud was discharging way quicker than the other one. But when we did our battery testing, they both died relatively close to each other within a minute or two. So I'm not sure why the discrepancy on the notification, but it really doesn't affect the functionality at all. Then there's the built-in microphone, which is pretty damn good. I mean, it isn't perfectly flat, as you can see, and there are some bits of the vocal range that get a little extra emphasis, but there isn't a super hard drop-off below 100 Hz like other mics, so it preserves most of the important bits of a deep vocal range. That's all the more impressive considering I can't see where the microphones are, unlike the AirPods Pro or the Jabra Elite 75Ts, which you can spot the microphones and just point them out. Sound quality wasn't the strongest point on the original Pixel Buds, mainly because of their lack of isolation, and that's more or less the case here. But at least it isn't as bad as the original Pixel Buds. Isolation still isn't a strong point with the new Pixel Buds, and they block basically nothing in the low end. So if you're looking to bring these on an airplane, this probably isn't the one for you, since the roar of the engine will cut right through. That said, these buds sound really good. Though I should warn any bass heads out there that this isn't gonna do it for you. The bass response is pretty flat, and if you can get a good seal by switching out the ear tips, then you should be fine. That is assuming you don't like overbearing bass. While there was definitely a lack of sub bass in some songs, I found that what I'm after in a pair of true wireless earbuds was there. These did just enough to keep the kick drums and bass guitar and Selfless by the Strokes subtle but present, just like I like it. Now there is a small amount of emphasis in the mids and highs as well, which made these pretty good for listening to my podcast while walking around the apartment. I've been listening to a number of podcasts thanks to quarantine, and seeing as the range of 300 Hz to about 3000 Hz is where most formats necessary for speech intelligibility tend to lie, I don't have a problem hearing the commentators over whatever else is happening in the apartment. The one thing that still remains to be seen is how well these will hold up once I'm back outside, and these have to compete with trucks and the subway. Highs are also emphasized, but the end result here was a little bit different. While I was able to clearly hear all of the hi-hats and cymbals and the song Feels Like We Only Go Backwards by Tame Impala, they definitely were not as clear as I'm used to, and at times things in the highs almost sounded like they were overlapping each other. So the question is, should you buy the Pixel Buds? I mean, I did. While these aren't the best earbuds we've ever tested and $179 is not cheap, Google nailed everything that's important when it comes to a pair of true wireless earbuds. The charging case is damn near perfect, and while the earbuds themselves aren't the most comfortable for longer listening sessions, I'm willing to make that trade just because of how convenient they are. I mean, for most people, I would probably still recommend the Jabra Elite 75Ts, whether you're on Android or iOS, but we all know someone with a pair of the original AirPods that loved them. And it wasn't because they sounded great, I can tell you that. It's because they were super convenient and easy to use. The new Pixel Buds are the AirPods of Android. Finally. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Are they the best? No, they're not the best at any one thing. They're good at a bunch of things, but they're not the best at any one thing. They're just really easy to use, and they've earned a spot in my everyday carry. I'm keeping these. Well, I'm keeping these. This one's the review unit. See, there's no sticker. This one has a sticker. This is the one I'm keeping. I paid for these. And that should pretty much do it for this one. Thanks for watching. If you want to know more about the Google Pixel Buds or any of the other products we review, make sure to check out SoundGuys.com. While you're here, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know every time we upload a new video. I'm Adam Molina. Happy listening.